Baby, baby, baby. Listen, come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. We are getting down, baby. This is part 4. We back. We are back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody take your seats. Take your seats. This is the finale. This is the last part of this, baby. We working overtime. We working overtime, but it's so daggone good that, child, you can't help it. You just can't help it. This is how it was when I was watching it. I was just in it, in it, in it, in it. I couldn't move. I literally could not move. And hey, it is what it is. So we burning the midnight oil on this, so to speak. Okay, we back. Thank y'all for hanging out. I appreciate it. Okay, so listen. So part 4 of Flowers in the Attic, the origin. This is part 4, and it was called The Martyr. And I said, why the heck is it called The Martyr? But I found out, boy, did I find out. Baby, we done touched on everything, just about. We done touched on everything that is touchy in this series, except for the church. We're going to tap on their shoulder next. Yes, God, honey. Hey, Heidi, what's going on? Welcome, 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 welcome. Okay, so listen. So like I said, where we left off, baby, girlfriend was looking through the peephole, and baby, she seen her daughter, Corinne, mounted, honey. Like I said, why waste a good horse when you could ride a cowboy, honey? And she was getting down. She busted in the room, honey. They covering up. She gonna say, you two meet me down in the study. And she walks on out with that dirty gown. Because remember, she just got done putting Miss Steiner in the ground. She just threw the dirt in Miss Steiner's face down out back. The husband ain't seen nothing. He's still doing his thing. So she get down there, baby. And she talks to them, tells them what's going on. And it's a whole good mess going on there. A whole mess. When I tell you it got very, very ugly very quickly, she ends up telling them basically what has happened. She told her, listen, I'm not your real mother. I'm not. I'm not your real mother. And Christopher is not just your uncle. Because they were like, I don't care. She's like, they said, that's forbidden what you're doing. It's just wrong. We keep in mind, we kept hearing little things saying she don't really believe in religion. That religion is for the weak and religion is for the people that think too much and all these different little things. And she wasn't trying to hear it. Then they're like, when did you get to be religious all of a sudden? She's like, but what's wrong is just wrong. He is your uncle. But he's not really your uncle. Well, I mean, he is your uncle, but he's also your brother. So what y'all are doing is forbidden. Honey, listen. Christopher was kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. But that Corinne, no, Corinne did not care, honey, because Corinne is her father's daughter. She didn't care. Corinne want what Corinne want, period. Period. So that was that. She told them, listen, I'm done with this. I'm done with all of this. I don't want to hear no more about it. I will take this to my grave. And you two, it'll be just as though it never happened. Of course, they look like brother and sister. They look exactly alike because they are. She said, I'll take it to my grave. We'll never speak of this again. And that is that. So they end up going, and the father ends up coming in. And child, once we get to the father ends up, of course, Corinne is throwing a fit. She throwing a fit. She doing what she do. The father then got to Christopher. Malcolm and Christopher are speaking, and he tells him, well, he had told the mother, once he finds out that she's nothing more than a used up whore who has already had an abortion, he won't want her. He won't want her once he knows she ain't pure. He won't want her. I said, oh my, oh my. Hey, Kate, he got down there, baby. He told that Christopher, he said, you know she's selfish, right? She's selfish, narcissistic, and she's had an abortion. Just last year, she had an abortion. I said, oh, jeez. Oh, my. In the midst of all this fighting and carrying on, she just snuck down into the study, okay? She snuck down into the study or down to the father's office, gets in the stuff, gets the, because remember, when he gave her some money to go get a dress, she watched how he opened everything. She opened it, goes back in there, find the money, because she done told Christopher, we're going to run away together. We're going to run away together. He's like, okay. She go to get the little stuff. She gets the grandfather's, the actual will and testament of the grandfather, and reads it and finds out that damn Malcolm has been lying this whole time. Half of the estate belonged to Christopher, which made complete sense to me because they never actually discussed it. They never discussed it. And then I guess I didn't think too much of it because Christopher wasn't born when Malcolm killed their father. The mother was still pregnant, but the will and testament was already done. He had it locked up. She got it, honey. That Corinne got it and rented her father, baby, and told him, you owe him money, this, that, thing, and the other. You've been lying this whole time, and blah, 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 blah. He snatched the damn will off of her and threw it in the fire. Threw it in the fire. Then once she's convincing him to still do it, that's when he got Christopher, got him to the side, told him she's selfish. She had an abortion a year ago. She ain't pure. And told her, don't I owe you some money? Let's make a deal. $10,000. I'll give you $10,000. I said, okay. So he goes upstairs. He tells her, listen, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. You weren't completely honest with me. You know, this, that, thing, and the other. And he was going to leave. So they're ending up talking. And then the next thing you know, the mother and the father are actually talking with each other. They end up saying, well, wait a minute. When they find out about the money and all of that, and they putting everything together, they go running back upstairs. Go running back upstairs, because of course, you know, they had a fight already. Christopher and the father had a fight, but they stopped that fight from actually happening. But they go running back upstairs. When they look up, baby, they were gone. Gone, 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 both of them. They left with all of Olivia's jewelry and Corinne. Christopher pulled a quick one on him, baby. Grabbed the daughter, grabbed the jewelry, and got her, and got the $10,000 from him, and they punched it. They ran off and left. So that's that. They made it away from the house. So now ain't nothing there. Ain't nobody there. She basically by herself. Him and her is just merely existing. Nothing really changed. It was just a lot of misery going on at Foxworth Hall. And then we see how he just doesn't stop. Malcolm just doesn't stop. We're out there one day, and here he is. We see a cute little girl. She done grew up. She's stepping out of there. It's Nella's granddaughter. Was on her way to town. He didn't try to get Nella's granddaughter. Now, Nella's granddaughter is his what? And he knows it. Celia is his daughter. So Celia's daughter is his granddaughter, correct? He trying to get her now. I said, he is just sick and twisted. sick and twisted, and really got a whole lot. He trying to get his granddaughter, his little black granddaughter. I said, Lord have mercy. And Olivia caught him and told her, no, baby, you go the other way. And told him, you get to work and don't look back. I said, this is terrible. Terrible. He just out of order and out of pocket. He really was. It's just something in him. Something in him. Him and his daughter. Him and his daughter. Don't leave her out. Him and her. So this one day, it's in the evening. Nella come outside her house because she hears some rambling around. We saw Olivia messing with a book that told you about vehicles, motor vehicles. She out there, baby, she's ready to Jimmy rig up the car. Because the car was actually being worked on by her husband and Harry. But she was going to Jimmy rig up the car, honey. She done got sick of Malcolm. She's ready to kill him, honey. And Nella told her, she says, please don't do that. Because what's going to happen is something's going to happen. You Jimmy rig up the car, it's going to do whatever it does, but it's going to come back on one of my boys. And my boys will end up in jail or hanged or worse. All because of what? She said, I understand it. I mean, I understand. I want to do something wrong a lot of times, but you have to look at the whole picture. And she said, remember when I told you that I look at you and I see something good in you? This ain't you. This ain't you. I'm like, girl, you don't know her. You don't know her. She's sick of his ass. She is sick of him, honey. But when she said it, she said, I'm sorry, Nella. I'm sorry. Welcome back, Angela. So wait, so dig this. Next couple days go by. We see girlfriend sitting there. She's sitting. And she had got mad. She took this tools that night. She took the tools and took the picture. You know, they had those photos that they had done. Had the picture of him and ripped the photo. Just stabbed it and ripped it. That morning, he come out. He looking over the banister and sees the picture is torn. And he got to leaning over looking. Baby, she done Jimmy. That damn Olivia done Jimmy rigged the goddamn banister. You see him leaning, looking at the portrait, and then you see her sitting in the office with the door open. And the next thing you know, you just see this body just fall, just bam on the ground. I said, oh my God. I thought it was a dream sequence. I thought it was a dream sequence. The way she was just sitting there like, child, bam, he hit that damn ground. That heifer got up and said, call the doctor. She tore his ass up. You hear me? She took the saw and kicked it into the fire. I said, this let him up. Let him up. He spent 6 months in the hospital, and she just wasn't good at killing. She said, I'm not good at finishing off a kill. 6 months in the hospital, came back paralyzed, baby, and no speech. One side of his body just done, and no speech, baby. I said, so now she got to take care of him, right? I said, okay. So everything for a while was going really well. She's running things her own way and doing what she do. She even went so far as her and Nella had patched things up, and she had given, Nella had talked to her one day about her wanting to sing, when they talked about the boys going off, and she gave Nella this huge old going away party and all that so she can go pursue her singing career and all that. And the party was up at the house. Honey, they brought him downstairs. He was looking, that thing was fit to be tied. You hear me? Looking at all them black folks sitting there dancing around and Nella singing, honey. And she's singing something about going on to the sunny side of the street. I said, girl, no, you ain't singing no old nasty piece of jazz standard, honey, in his house, honey, in his face. I said, oh, girl. He was so mad. So mad. And yeah, she was dancing with Olivia was dancing with Nella's husband. I said, Lord have mercy. So he was pissed. So Nella left, and that was that. She was gone. She went on about her way. Then after that, Olivia ends up going into this when it got real good and very mommy dearest, if you will. Maybe she had to meet with the board because now with Malcolm being like he is, he can't talk and he can't really do much. She got to handle the business. Remember, originally, she was her father's business partner. So she knows what she's doing. And it's a table full of men, baby. They was trying to give it to her. And she gave them very much of the don't fuck with me, fellas. Hattie, this ain't my first time at the rodeo. I know how to win the hard way. It was a 1920s version of that, baby. She told them, honey, y'all haven't done this, y'all haven't done that, you haven't done that, and I want to know why it hasn't been done. Who wants to answer me, or should I start calling upon you? I said, bitch, let them have it. Let them have it. She was letting them have it and told them, I will be sitting in as the president because I don't think Malcolm will ever recover, and I'm handling the business now. It was what it was, and that was that. Honey, listen, she took him on down there, or she had told him, she says, here, I need you to sign these papers so it will turn your presidentship over to me to take care of the business of Foxworth Industries. Honey, that thing wrote on the paper, go to hell. She said, oh, okay. Baby, she took that wheelchair and rolled it on down the hallway to his mother's room. She said, see, you're going to have to learn. Every time you don't do what I want done, something's going to get done to you. She went in that mother's room. Remember, the mother's room, there's never a piece of anything out of place, ever. Ever since when he was 5 years old. Picked up this beautiful, it was a beautiful perfume bottle. And there's this beautiful vanity that she had. She said, whoosh, honey. It just, the glass just, I said, oh, wow. She said, I doubt very seriously that you can get that repaired. I said, no, she didn't. And then just start tearing up. Just start tearing up. He was sitting in that chair, baby, and his soul was just tearing it up, honey. And she said, see how this is going to work? Honey, she went over to the chair too close. Baby, when I tell you that thing, and I understand this, and I know this shit to be a fact, I have a cousin who is paraplegic. And my cousin, listen, don't let Julia fool you. If you get too close to that chair, you're going to get what they call up. Do you understand? He is very strong in his upper body. Honey, listen, she got too close to the chair. He choked that whore till she's bleeding. He choked her till her ass was bleeding. I said, girl, no, you went over there messing with his mother's stuff, honey. He told her, I ain't signing a goddamn thing. I'll choke the goddamn life out of you. You are! He choked her. Shot the two of them on the floor, flopping around like a fish. He choking. Baby, let me tell you something. Don't mess with Olivia. Honey, Olivia reached over there. She got a piece of porcelain something up off the floor, honey, and gave him this, honey. Duke! I said, oh! Baby, listen. You talking about War of the Roses? She duked him real hard in his head, honey. I said, look, well, wait a minute. Listen, I was going to use this for my thumbnail, but I said, child, I don't think YouTube would take too kind to it, honey. But I had to snap the picture of it for myself. I said, girl, let him have it, honey. Wait a minute, y'all. Hold on. They was giving War of the Roses. You hear me? That was them. After she done banged them in the head, they was both knocked out, child. They was both over there knocked out for a while, honey. He choked her until she bled. She just back up, honey. I said, oh, shit, honey. A mess. A mess. And then she got up and told him, now sign the damn papers. And he went on, you know, he couldn't do that, honey. He went on and signed the little paper. Once he signed the paper, I said, oh, Olivia. She said, now that you've signed that piece of paper, I won't be needing you to sign anything else. Took her high heel shoe and said, on his head. I said, no, she didn't, honey. Tore his wrist up misery style. I said, see, this is the Olivia I like, honey. That's the Olivia that I like. I said, girl, get him, honey. And then told the butler, oh, my goodness. Mr. Foxworth has seemed to have fallen out of his chair. Help him up. I said, no. It was a mess. It was a mess. I said, okay, a whole mess. Whole mess. Whole mess. Anyway, next thing that happened, Olivia wrote a letter. She wrote a letter. Said she needed to see someone. She needed somebody around her that was family. She don't know where Joel is. And that became very evident. She didn't know where Joel was. She didn't know where her daughter was. Everybody just gone. So she calls for family. I said, well, who's family? Her father, dad. I forgot about Cousin Amos. So Cousin Amos comes back. And remember, Cousin Amos is one of those Bible-toting, like he was really brimstone, fire and brimstone. He was with it, okay? He come on back with all his carryings on. Now, he don't sit right with me. Just didn't sit right with me at all. Listen, he get back there and he gets to preaching to her, telling her, Corinne is going to be punished for her sins. She's going to be punished for her sins. Punished. And the only way to get to God and happiness is repentance. And all this kind of carried on. And then he introduces her to the Bible. But he is a radical. Okay? He's a radical. I said, wow. Let me tell you what Corinne had going on while all this was going on. Honey, Miss Corinne then popped out 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Okay. And then, you know, by this time, her husband, Christopher, then became a doctor, and they are just living a good life. They got a nice house. And then she busts out, she gets pregnant with twins. She has a set of twins that she's pregnant with. At the same time, Olivia is running around running background checks on her and sending a private eye looking for her, so she knows exactly what's going on. Remember when there was that storm, when we had that storm and old girl fell out and then was over there kissing her brother in the chapel, honey? Going to the chapel and we're going to get her. Oh, no, you're not, honey. She ended up giving that to Amos. She gave that to Amos as a gift. It's on the grounds and all of that. And the first thing Amos said when they get in there, because it needed some renovations. So the door fell. The door had fell. I said, that ain't a good sign. You touch the door of the church and the door fall in. I said, child, the devil. The door fall in, all the way in. Judas. The door fell in, y'all. I said, no, Amos. You got to look more going on other than chocolate chip cookies, honey. What's going on, Amos? And then he say out of his mouth, no one can hear us. She said, huh? He said, no one can hear us. She said, well, what would you be doing? He said, oh, praying, of course. Lies! Lies, lies, lies. What are you doing, Amos, that you worried about somebody hearing you? See, you got a lot more going on than famous Amos cookies, honey. It ain't chocolate chip cookies. What you doing, Amos? I said, see, I knew I ain't like that goddamn Amos. Something ain't right with him. I knew something was wrong when the door fell off that church. God knows. I said, Now he's whose story I wanted more. What are you doing? What are you doing? Anyway, so listen, that was a mess. Shortly after that, we see Corinne getting a visit. And it's the police. Christopher has perished in a car accident. He perished in a car accident. She made it for a little bit longer. You know, she was struggling. She ended up just struggling, and the things just went down, and there was bills. They were in debt. She didn't know how deeply they were in debt and everything like that. And she just wasn't. It just wasn't. It just wasn't. It just wasn't. Everything was just went bad. In the midst of all of that, Olivia's still over there making her husband miserable, carrying on. She took everything out of the mother's room and dug like a little pit, put it all out there and burned it. Talking about you got to, it's a sacrifice to get the evil up out of the house and all of that. She's become like this radical, this Bible-toting radical. She was doing too much at the time. So said, okay, all that's going on. Next thing you know, there's a knock at the door. It's like, what is this knock? It's Nella. Nella returns. Famous Amos got a mind hold on her. See, because she's a follower. Olivia's a follower. We found that out. She's a follower. And Amos had her following him the same way she was following her husband for all them years until she got pissed off with him again. And he was so mean to Nella. It was that very much, how dare you, black woman, be somewhere around here and you not working in the back. It was given very much that. Okay, she was just there visiting family and everything. And she was just nasty. He was really nasty to Nella. Very nasty. Especially about the stuff with Corinne. Whenever Corinne came up, they said, let's have a dinner. They had this little dinner. Honey, and during that dinner, they got into a whole back and forth about repentance, and he's telling her, yes, you gotta let Corinne basically sweat it out, let her be impoverished, and then she'll come back to you, and blah 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 blah. I said, well, what kind of mess is that? And that's what Nella was telling her. She's like, no, honey. You love her like you birthed her. And I know that because we've talked about this. And you don't let people who you love suffer. Who said that's the way of God? That ain't it. But honey, the two of them was going back and forth, and it was giving very much of people like you and all this old little nasty little stuff. It was terrible. It was very, very terrible. Terrible. So all of that took place. After they left from that dinner, because it was Nella and her whole family. And Celia, Celia was just like, how is Corinne? And this, that, and the other. Celia don't have it for the people at all. She ain't got it for them. They let her know at that dinner. That's when she was trying to play it off like she might have heard from Harry and Joel. She ain't heard nothing from them at all. But Celia and them, they're not in New York. They're in Tanzania. They're doing like really well. They kept in touch with them. They don't mess with her. So that just made her feel a little bit, worse. A little bit worse. But anyway, she's sitting there. She ain't got nobody but Amos at this point, really. And then she's still taking care of old Malcolm. Child, we see Nella a couple days later. Nella's getting ready to leave. She said, it was a couple of weeks later. She said, these last couple of weeks, I haven't seen you much. She says, yeah, I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to leave. And they start talking. And the conversation just went left. She says something about, the people on the wall and this, that, and the other. She said, you do realize the people that you're talking about on the wall, those are my family members. And she said, huh? She said, those are the Foxworths. She said, those are my family members that you're talking about, Nella. And she's like, but that's the funny part. I always told you were different. You're not like you. Are you becoming one of them? Said, they're my family. And she said something else to her. She said, don't make the mistake again. And it's Mrs. Foxworth to you. I said, oh, we back to that again. And Nella said, isn't that funny? Because I remember the day you came here, and the one thing that you never wanted to be was Mrs. Foxworth. She said, you take care. And she left on up out of her house, honey. I said, well, that was the end of that. It was so nasty. When the way she switched up in that conversation, in her face, it was so nasty. I said, there goes the grandmother. She is here and in full view. The grandmother, the way that we know her from the 1984 movie, Flowers in the Attic. Granny was there, honey. I said, oh, you old nasty whore. You have arrived. Nasty. Baby, the next thing you know, we see Amos. Because Olivia gets a letter, and it's from Corinne. And she had told us that Corinne is coming back to me, just the way Amos said that she would. She's totally desolate, and she's coming back on her knees and her hands curling, right? So she tells Amos, let's get dressed up for dinner tonight. Make it a real celebration. Ain't nobody but the two of them. She said, okay. Amos up there getting all dressed up, spit shining his hair, honey. And he hears this plate hit the floor. He goes in the room. It's Malcolm. Malcolm has knocked his plate over. He wants to get the attention of Amos. He done been working, and his motor skills done got a little better. Baby, he done wrote in there that on a piece of paper, it said, Olivia is a murderer. Baby. Don't nobody manipulate people worse than Malcolm, okay? Child, I said, wow. Amos and Olivia end up he told her to meet him down to the little church, honey. She meet him down there. He told her, you haven't been honest with me. You have not been totally honest with me. And she says, okay. And he convinced her to confess to him. She went ahead and confessed everything to him. Said, did you murder somebody? He showed her the letter. She confessed it. And then he took and made a move on her. Because she said, I'm so sorry, I don't know. She's feeling all down. He gonna say, no, you've never looked more beautiful and pure to me now. You've confessed it and you're repenting. Charlie went to kiss her, made a move on her, his cousin. Baby, she is more of a radical than him. She slapped his face and yuck about it, slapped him and told him, how dare you? How dare you? You judge my daughter for sins and then you want to try to commit those sins? She said, oh, you're out of here. She was done with him. She went on. Later on that night, baby, he went in there. He came up in her room, baby, and tried to get her, baby. He ran in there and tried to violate her and told her, I delivered you to the light. You will not send me away into the darkness without me getting what I've earned. I said, what? What you say? and proceeded to try to complete a violent rape on his cousin, honey. You all remember in the very beginning, he gave her this beautiful silver letter opener as a gift. It was on her nightstand. She politely picked it up, honey, and right in his neck, honey, and watched the blood splatter out onto that dollhouse that she had. That he, I said, look at the symbolism, honey. He's the one that brought. She only had a few things left. Only had a few things left from when her father died. That dollhouse was one of them. Honey, she gave it to him in his neck, gouged him in his neck, and the blood splattered all over that dollhouse, honey, while he bled out on top of her, honey. I said, bye-bye, Amos, you bastard. Tore him up. And guess what she did with him? Took him out there and dug a hole for him and buried him next to Mrs. Steiner, honey. I said, see ya. Buried him right on out there. I said, okay. So that was that. That was all. And then the next thing you know, we see Corinne arriving, walking up the driveway, honey, with her 4 children. And that takes us right into Flowers in the Attic, the actual movie, Flowers in the Attic. This was so good. So good. I get it literally 8 hours. 8 hours of just cinematic goodness. It really, really was. It was amazing to me that they have done so many adaptations to this story, and they all have not been good to me. I've not enjoyed any of what Lifetime has done, because Lifetime has done Flowers in the Attic. They did Petals on the Wind. They did If There Be Thorns. And they did their own version of Flowers in the Attic. Nothing beats the 1984 film, the original one. Nothing. With Ellen Bernstein playing the grandmother. That's the one you need to watch if you've never seen it. The original. The original. Okay, so listen. Listen. Is it Ellen Bernstein? Yeah. Is it Ellen Bernstein? Why do I feel like I'm saying the wrong name? Hold on. Let me make sure. But the original is, I'm going to Google, so I'll make sure I give you the right thing. The original is the best. I didn't like Lifetime's version at all. Come on, it's giving me the. It was 87, 1987, not 84, 87. And the grandmother is played by. I'm sorry, Louise Fletcher. It was Louise Fletcher. It was Louise Fletcher that played the grandmother. She really made the whole. She was excellent. She was excellent, and the children were really, really excellent as well. Yeah, the children were excellent. The ones that played the children were excellent. But that's the way where you want to go. From here, if you've never seen it, go ahead and watch Flowers in the Attic, but watch the original. It's 1987. Don't bother with Lifetime's version. Go to the original. The original gives you the story, baby. gives you the story. And there's some slight differences, but not too much. They did a really, really good job at this to make me want to do all this in 2 days. Because I watched the whole thing in 2 days. I did. 2 days. And I would have probably finished it in maybe 1, but listen, I had to do P-Valley and I had to watch The Housewives, so you know how that goes. But anyway, listen, and we did all of this tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. It is late. I really do appreciate it. For those who are waiting for my Married to Medicine, it will be up within the hour. I had to do this. I just had to get this up and get this off of me first. But it'll be up within the hour. But yes, this is part 4. This is the finale of Flowers in the Attic, the origin. Last part was called The Martyr. And the martyr was old nasty Amos, honey. He got his just desserts. Everybody gets what they got. Anyway, listen, you all have a great night. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. And I will catch you all, I'll catch y'all around here. There's another VC Andrews story, which is Ruby. I got to watch Ruby. I got to see what Ruby's all about. But it's just like every time they let me down when they mess around on Lifetime with this. I don't know why, but yeah, they be letting me down. I thought we was going to get through this without the trolls in the chat, but I guess not. Y'all just couldn't resist yourself. Anyway, good night, you all. Y'all have a good one. Bye.